Hi, Tonya. Good morning.
Hello, Kimberly.
I am so excited to be speaking with you today for our Healers Transformation. This is where we spend a few minutes talking with some of our group members and some people that we just love and think are amazing people. And we want them to share their story on what happened in their life that got them to be where they're at today in their healing profession. So today we have Tonya Warfield, and Tonya is a certified holistic health coach and a toxic-free living educator. She helps men and women love who they are now so that they can live a happy, healthy life. So welcome, Tonya. Thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm going to hear a little bit more about what you do. I love this toxic-free living educator. Tell me a little more about that.
Yeah, so I guess as I've evolved in this career, this choice of profession, um, I have to say it really all started with, well, let me go ahead and explain the toxic free living. We're inundated with toxins from all directions. I'm sure most of you know it's in our food, it's in our water, it's in the air, it's on our skin products, it's everywhere. And so the more that we can reduce that toxic load, the healthier we can be. Because I do believe disease, and illnesses are definitely caused by toxicity. We can reach a threshold at some point where it's just overload and the body will completely shut down. And it's not like you get cancer or anything like that all of a sudden. It's been building up. It's been building up. So think, for example. And since we are exposed so much, I educate people on where these toxins lie, because most of us don't even realize where they are. It can be in pharmaceuticals, it can be in a multitude of places. And the second thing that causes this is a lack of or mineral deficiency. So we are so mineral deficient because of the toxins that are sprayed on our soils and our crops of the foods we eat. The soil is depleted, so we're really not getting what we need. And so mineral deficiency is the second, I believe, cause of dis-ease and illnesses in the body.
So you educate people on where the toxins are coming from in their world and how to get rid of them, or how to live without
Yes.
them, be free of them.
I mean, you can't be 100%. You don't want to drive yourself crazy trying to be 100% because the stress causes toxicity too. So I help them to find different ways to tweak what they are already doing to reduce that toxic load. So, they could be purchasing a certain type of food in the grocery store. Well, most likely there may be a better alternative, same type of food, just as delicious with better ingredients, for example. And skincare, so the things we use, our soaps, all our products that we use, cleaning products, there's always a better alternative. So I help them to find those and become aware of how, what effect does it have on the body? Inflammation, even most of the diseases that are named can be reversed when your body starts healing. And the way to start healing the body is by reducing that toxic load. Heavy metals is another aspect that's very prominent right now. Many of us have a lot of heavy metals, and with heavy metals, guess what comes? Parasites and things like that. So parasites cannot live in a mineralized body and an oxygenated body, but they do love a toxic body. So when we can remove those things from the body with detoxification processes over time, that is huge help.
Wonderful, wonderful. So quite needed in our world today. This ability to help remove that or decrease the toxic burden, at least decrease it, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about what happened in your life that brought you to this place where you're so passionate about helping men and women to love who they are so they can live a happy, healthy life. Tell me about that.
And so Well, one, it's funny because I kind of, this love thing has been coming up a lot for me lately. So it's kind of a new, um, we like to encourage people, but sometimes if we're trying to encourage people, we may not be, what about the person they are now? We need to be compassionate about the person we are and our clients or our friends and our family. Let's be compassionate about who we are now, because I think that opens up a door instead of always trying to be compassionate about who they could be or who we could be. So we need to find that self love and that compassionate around ourselves as we are now, loving who we are now, whether we
Mm.
want to lose weight, um, whether we don't feel well, if we have autoimmune conditions and all that. If we can just love where we are now, then things will be more clear for opportunities to heal the body if it needs to be healed, or lose some of that weight if it needs to be come off.
Mm.
I just wanted to throw that in there. But what brought me on this journey, uh, gosh, how many years? I want to say 16 or 17 years ago. I looked at my dog's food. My dog was my baby. I had a 130-pound lab shepherd, and he was eating Iams dog food. I would get that at the pet store, and they had a recall, so I started looking into what was in it, and I'm thinking, this is not what dogs should be eating. They need meat. They're carnivores, right? So there was corn and soy, and so that brought me down this rabbit hole. What's in our, not only was it in the dog's food, but it's in most of our processed foods as well. And started watching these documentaries and learned all about this. And that's when we started transitioning our food over to more organic, knowing where it was coming from. And it's been a long journey. Then in 2008, my husband and I got pregnant. It was April. And at 7.5 weeks, we unfortunately lost the baby. And that
Mm.
was super devastating. Not, I know it happens a lot now. I know it happens a lot. But the fact that we had told the whole world at like 5 weeks was even more devastating. Um, Now, later that year, my mom, she was 60 years old. In December, we got a call. My husband and I were in Bahamas, and it took him 12 hours to get in touch with us because we were on a Navy base in a secluded area. And she had passed that morning of a heart attack, a sudden heart attack. She was
Mm.
not an unhealthy woman. I think she might have been on some high blood pressure medication. At the time, that's all I knew. And after this happened, of course, losing your mom is the worst thing ever.
Wow.
And I'm
Devastating.
sure losing a child, it would be even worse. But at the time, she's 60 years old. This is way too young. So I started thinking, man, her side has diet. My grandmother on her side had diabetes. Her father had a stroke at some point, left him bedridden for a year and a half. My father's parents, his mother had Alzheimer's. One of his sisters had Alzheimer's. She passed away early. And I'm just thinking, I sure don't want to go down that path. I want to live a long and long lasting life. And I don't want to follow these footsteps. So there needs to be some change. There has to be a reason. And then when I looked into it, I realized my mom had taken a specific pharmaceutical that was on the market in 2005 that actually killed thousands, thousands of people. And uh, when I discovered that, I realized that was what her problem was, with the heart damage. It had damaged her heart, and a lot of
Mm.
them do.
Mm.
Then I did find out she was also on Neurontin at the time that she passed later, and that is a very popular drug that a lot of people are on right now. It's called gabapentin as well. And anyways, that really took me down the rabbit hole with everything else. The toxic load, how things work, what they've been doing for over a century, maybe a couple of centuries now, and the way the medical industry came about, the whole of it. Now, like we were saying earlier, there's a place, I believe, for the medical avenue
Mhm.
with injuries. and surgeries like eye surgery, like you had, and I do believe it has its place. But when it comes to wellness, I don't believe it doesn't seem like people are getting better. And so,
Right.
yeah, that's right. That's why I'm really passionate about it. I feel like at the time I was working when my mom passed and when I had the miscarriage, I was a web and graphic designer and
Mm.
developer. And I was at the computer. I did my own business. I sat there for probably 16 hours a day. I did not set boundaries. I probably would get up, start about 5 o'clock in the morning, work till 8 in my pajamas, 8, whatever. I was not taking care of myself.
Mm.
So that's where that came in. And if I would have not woken up and continued that path, I'm sure I would have some kind of autoimmune condition at this point, maybe overweight, obesity, whatever. I've always been a small person. So just because people are small, also there can still be underlying conditions, you know. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Boy, the lifestyle is a number one thing for chronic conditions, right? Chronic
Yes.
illness. We want to look at our environment and what we're
Hmm.
eating and the toxic load and all of those things that often we can change, right?
Hmm.
We're not destined to live with chronic disease, but unfortunately, most of America is living with chronic disease and on a medication.
Absolutely. And it's hard, because I know people trust their doctors. And there are great doctors out there. We just need to find them. There's also great coaches out there. And that's where I come in. I kind of tie that bridge or bridge that gap between you and your naturopath or functional medicine doctor, whatever you choose. Just one that definitely has your best interest in mind, not
Mhm.
one that's just those those doling out pills. So that's what we want to look for. And so I'm that bridge between the two to make sure you can stay on your track of what you want to, of where you want to go.
Mhm. Well, it's absolutely necessary in today's day and age to have to really look at all the different options that we have available and to have to navigate through those choices. And so, having an educated health coach to be that bridge in
Mm-hmm.
between you and your care provider to help you, um, really look at what is the best choice for me and my
Mm-hmm.
circumstance and what's going on in my life, and to have that informed consent, really,
Yes.
um, to have all the possible options and decide what feels right for me. And I really love how much you're focusing on loving and having compassion for ourselves, because you're so absolutely right. If we're in a state of frustration or stress or overwhelm within our bodies, our nervous system is going to be in fight or flight and not in that rest and digest and recover and heal state. Right. And
Yes.
so being able to shift into a state of compassion for ourselves really resets the nervous system and puts you in that healing state. So
Yes.
I love that you're naming that for your clients and that you're supporting them on that level. That's a lot of what we do at Transpersonal Energy Healing, right? Is
Mm.
to get you into energetically into that state that's more
Yeah.
receptive to healing and more accepting and open to the
Mm-hmm.
healing potential that's living inside of us, right? That natural healing
Yes.
mechanism that is in all of us. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it is the toxins that's in the way of us accessing that, right? And sometimes it's our
Absolutely.
own attitude that's in the way of
Mm-hmm.
accessing that. So, what a beautiful gift you have as a health coach to be able to support people in accessing that state for themselves, that state of self love and compassion.
Yes. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Happy.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for taking the time to share your story of transformation with us and share a little bit more about what you do. Excuse me. What we'll do is we will put Tonya's information in the link below or in the comment section below. But you want to name what your website is or how people can find you?
Yes, it's revivehealthcoaching.com, or you can also go to healthcoachtonya.com, and that will bring you to all the different resources that I use. And that way, everyone needs different things, and I don't think one thing is an answer. So, Health Coach Tonya will bring you to a list of all of my offerings, and Revive Health Coaching will tell you a lot more about my coaching process. revivehealthcoaching.com.
All right. Thank you again. We'll put those links in the comment section below. And thank you again, Tonya, for sharing your time with us today.
Thank you, Kimberly. Y'all have a great day.